everyone, and welcome to English for You. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sam.
And today we're going to be talking about books and reading and all sorts of things that bookworm-type people like to do. Are you a bookworm?
I am. Well, you'd hope I would be, considering I write a lot of these articles.
It's true. You do write a lot.
Yeah,
do you also read a lot in your free time?
I'm a busy person, but I do like reading.
Okay.
But because I'm busy, I only have time for about 30 minutes or so a day, which isn't as much as I'd like. So I get through a chapter, a few pages a day, and I usually right before I'm about to sleep. And then I do fall asleep.
It can be hard to find time to read in the day when you have enough time to enjoy it. You have the energy to keep your eyes open and kind of get into the book. I try to read as much as I can on the bus or the MRT.
That's a good idea.
That's one way. But of course, in the morning, if it's a crowded bus, or I have a large book, it's kind of hard, but once you get a seat, it can be very enjoyable.
Yes. Do you sometimes miss your stop because you're so...
I've done that a few times. I've also missed a few nights of sleep because I'm reading a really exciting book.
So that can do that.
That's a good thing. But of course, people love to read, and I think reading is becoming more and more popular as people get tired of looking at screens all the time, and people are also enjoying reading of the old style books as well as, of course, the modern e-books. E-readers. So we're going to be talking about books and reading. It's going to be really great. And if you're not a reader, maybe you'll become one. And if you are a reader, you will certainly love all of this stuff because you're a bookworm like us. Let's check it out.
Reading.
Let's celebrate World Book and Copyright Day. Books spread knowledge and enable understanding. They promote learning, science, and culture. For these reasons, people all around the world celebrate World Book and Copyright Day every April 23rd. While UNESCO held its first World Book and Copyright Day in 1995, the idea is much older. Spanish writer Vicente Clavel Andrés came up with it in 1922. He organized the first one in 1926 and held it on October 7th. His main purpose was to celebrate his literary hero, the famous Spanish author Miguel de Cervantes. Later, he moved it to April 23rd, the day Cervantes died. UNESCO kept this day because William Shakespeare and several other prominent authors passed away on April 23rd. Every year, UNESCO selects a city as its World Book capital. This year, UNESCO has let Accra, Ghana have the honor. Accra's program for the event is aimed at using books to give young people the skills they need. Meanwhile, people all over the world celebrate World Book and Copyright Day in their own special way.
All right, so the article starts with a very good sentence to get us thinking about books and why they're so wonderful and so important. And it says here very clearly, books spread knowledge and enable understanding. They do many other things too, of course. They entertain and inform and delight.
They do. Keep us awake.
They keep us awake. They're good for killing mosquitoes. But really, they're mostly important because they spread knowledge and enable understanding. To spread knowledge is basically to teach you new things so you can learn new things, right? We spread knowledge by telling stories, by writing stories, by reading the news, by going to school. And that kind of thing. And they also enable understanding, okay? Understanding is basically being able to sort of know what people are thinking or kind of get into their head or into their heart, into their emotions, even if that's not you. So you can read a book about, I don't know, a poor child in Africa. I've never been a poor child in Africa, but by reading a book, I can now understand a little bit about what it would like.
Know their situation.
Exactly, and that kind of thing leads to understanding. Now here we also have this very important verb, to enable. To enable is basically to make something able, to give you the power to do something.
That's
Without
exactly
books,
right, yeah.
I couldn't understand another person's life experience, but books enable me. They allow me to understand. In the same way, in the real world, a key would enable you to unlock a door. If you don't have the key, you can't unlock the door. So something that gives you the power or the ability to do something enables you in some way.
Right.
For example, Devin's talent for languages enables him to talk with people from many different countries.
Right,
Sure.
yeah, why not? Yeah.
Key to communication.
Exactly.
All right, back to the article.
Back to the article. So the article says they promote learning, science, and culture.
They do that too.
Yeah, so as we say, they promote learning, things that we can understand, gain knowledge from, science and culture.
Absolutely. I love to read non-fiction books. Books about the real world, real people, real science and history. All that stuff is very, very interesting. So books do so many things for us, and of course they do a lot of other things than the ones we've mentioned. So now when we're thinking about this, about books, it says for these reasons, people all around the world celebrate World Book and Copyright Day every April 23rd. I didn't know about this thing.
No, well, me neither, till I read the article. But, so what is copyright? Well, that's actually quite a difficult concept, quite a difficult thing to understand until we break the word down. We've got the word copy and then write. So basically, copyright is when an artist or writer has the legal right to make and publish copies of their work. Okay. So they can also give copyright to other people or organizations to allow them to copy and publish their works, perhaps on their behalf.
Okay.
So if we wrote a book, then we could have that published, we could print it, and then we would perhaps get the money for that. But nobody else could do that. So if it was my book, you couldn't do it without my permission.
Okay, so in the same way, I can't build a factory and start making running shoes and call them Nike.
No.
That would be against the law. I can't copy someone's product. In the same way, I can't sit down and go, oh, I'm going to write some books about a boy who's a wizard and his name is Harry Potter.
That's familiar. Yes.
I'm going to write these books and sell them and make money. No, I can't do that because what's her name? J.K. Rowling has the copyright.
Yes.
She owns the rights to that character. Okay, I think that's fair.
Yeah. So back to the article. So while UNESCO, which is, I believe, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, held its first World Book Copyright Day in 1995, the idea is much older.
Really? Okay, so this special day has been in the calendar for around 30 years, but the idea of having a World Book Day is a much older idea than that. How much older? I'm glad you asked, because I have an answer. Spanish writer Vicente Clavel Andres came up with it in 1922. That's even before I was born. That's a long time ago. So he was the first guy to think, you know, books and reading, it's so important. We should have a World Day to kind of celebrate books and all the other wonderful things we get from books.
Indeed.
Back in 1922. Okay.
Okay, now that's when he came up with the idea, but when was the actual first day? Well, let's find out. Well, the article says he organized the first one in 1926 and held it on October the 7th.
Okay, so it took him 4 years to finally organize a big event. He was probably reading a really good book at the time, and he wanted to finish the book because, he was having too much. Then he decided to organize the day.
Got around to doing it.
Once he finished that book. But we have to talk about this word organize, because if you're planning a big event, hopefully someone will help you organize it. What is it to organize something? To organize is basically to plan something, to have an idea for what you want to do, and then take very careful steps to make sure that that idea works out. So you need to plan things, you need to get all the things you need, maybe ask some people to help you, set up a timetable and a schedule for all that kind of stuff. And if you organize things, hopefully everything will go very smoothly with no problems. If you don't organize it, you just show up one day and say, all right, let's do it right now. But what if you forget something? What if you didn't think of something? What if you run out of time? You can avoid all these problems by organizing organizing things, especially things that are kind of complicated or things where you don't want to make a mistake. You have to be successful. So prepare for it by being organized. You can also use it as an adjective, or start organizing your big project or plan or party weeks or months before, and then everything will hopefully go very well. Let's talk about Jessie. Jessie organized a birthday party for her pet turtle, Morris. Well, happy birthday, Morris. I'm sure it was a lovely party. All right, so this man, Señor Andres, this Spanish writer and book lover, decided to organize a World Book Day, and the first one was in 1926. Now, of course, it's probably for books and to promote reading and a love of reading. But was there another goal for the first World Book Day?
Well, let's find out. So his main purpose was to celebrate his literary hero, the famous Spanish author, Miguel de Cervantes.
Oh, Miguel, he's the guy who wrote Don Quixote, one of the most famous books in Western literature. So sure, celebrate that guy. I think Miguel de Cervantes died hundreds of years before 1926, but still, we still celebrate Shakespeare and other people who've been dead for a long time, and Cervantes definitely deserves some recognition. That was the purpose of the first World Book Day. The purpose of something is basically your goal of something, the reason why. If someone says, "Why are you doing this?" you would tell them, "Because blah, blah, blah. That is my purpose. That is the why. That is the reason." So generally, if we're doing anything from standing up to get a drink of water, what is the purpose? You're thirsty. You want to drink some water. You have to go and get it. And also, if you're going off to school to study for 8 or 10 years, people would say, "Why are you doing that?" You say, "I want to be a doctor." That is your purpose for studying so long in school. It's the reason why you do something. For example, that's an interesting app you invented, but what is the purpose of it? Why would I want to use this weird app? All right, back to the article.
Right, well, we also have the word literary before that.
That's an important word.
And it's slightly tricky to pronounce. I have to practice it a little bit. Literary.
Literary.
Yeah, literary. The literary is an adjective that is used to talk about things that are related to writing or literature. So you can see where the word comes from, literary, literature. So usually important things, not like little notes we've written down or anything like that, but usually important bits of work.
Right.
Okay. So if I asked you, what are your favourite literary works, I would really be asking, what are your favourite books?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So in the article, the literary hero is an author or writer, and we can guess that they are Andre's favourite one because it calls them his hero.
Oh, okay. So a lot of people would have a hero in a field that they admire, that they're interested in. And for our Spanish friend, it was Miguel de Cervantes. Later, it says he moved it. So we're talking about the day of this World Book Day. He moved it to April 23rd, the day Cervantes died. Oh, okay. So we put it on the same day. In other words,
it's not just a random day.
Exactly, as another way of just sort of paying respects to this author that he admired so much.
Right. And then the article moves on to say, UNESCO kept this day because William Shakespeare and several other prominent authors passed away on April 23rd.
Really?
So there we go.
That is a very interesting coincidence.
Coincidence?
I don't think they were all killed or murdered on the same day.
Somebody's been going around killing.
These guys died hundreds of years apart in different countries, but it's just a very weird little accident of history that they happened to die on the 23rd.
Indeed.
So I guess I should tell all my writer friends to be really careful on April 23rd.
Yes.
There's a good chance something terrible could happen. All right, we have to talk about this word prominent. Let's do that now.
So, in the article, we have the word prominent. And prominent simply means important and famous. Shakespeare was an important and famous writer, so he was prominent. We could also say something like, the soccer player Messi was a prominent player at the 2022 World Cup. So he was a very important player during this World Cup.
All right, so let's find out about the World Book Day as it is now. It says every year, UNESCO selects a city as its World Book Capital. Okay, so basically, this will move around city to city to country every year.
Yep.
And it's UNESCO, this United Nations group, that selects which city will host this big event every year. Now, to select is basically to choose. When you have a bunch of things that you could have, use, do, buy, eat, but you can't use, do, buy, or eat all of them. You have to select one. If you go to the restaurant, you look at the menu, there's many types of food. You could have soup or salad or a hamburger or whatever, but you can't eat it all. You have to pick one, select a drink, select a meal, select a kind of soup, select a pair of shoes. What color would you like to select? Blue, white, black? We have to choose or select things all the time. For example, the little boy licked his lips as he selected a chocolate from the box. Ooh, that's a fun thing because there's so many choices.
Hard to select.
Back to the article, it says a capital here. Now, a capital, when we talk about politics and geography, is usually the main city in a country, especially the city where the government meets, where the leaders work. Washington, D.C. is the capital of America, Tokyo for Japan, Paris for France, you guys know that. But we can also use this word when not talking about politics to basically say this is the most important place for this kind of thing, for this part of culture, for this event, for this sport, whatever it is. It has nothing to do with presidents or prime ministers or kings and queens. We would say Hollywood is the capital of the movie business. You know, we could say, I don't know, Kaohsiung is the capital of something. Hot weather in Taiwan.
It definitely is that.
Definitely. Taipei is the capital of night markets, although Kaohsiung might fight about that one. But anyways, it's just a really important place, and if you want to see this thing or experience this culture, this is the place to go. There are other places, but this would be the #1 choice for most people. Here's an example. Nashville, Tennessee, in America, is often called the capital of country music. Most of the bars and restaurants there, you will hear country music playing because that's what people love in Nashville.
Right, so if you really love country music, head over to Nashville.
Go there.
Yeah. And back to the article. This year, UNESCO has let Accra in Ghana have the honor.
Ooh, the capital of Ghana. Accra or Accra, I've also heard it.
It might well be pronounced Accra,
that way, So it's in Western Africa. That's very interesting.
Yeah. And here we have a phrase. Okay, the phrase is to have the honor of something or doing something. So here the article says that Accra, Ghana, has the honor. If someone or something has the honor of doing something, they are proud to be doing it. So, for example, Mike and I have the honor of presenting this video for you. We're pleased and proud to do it for you. Okay. So, now we're going to cut for the language in focus, and we're going to learn about previous grammar points.
Wow, are you going to tell us about it?
I am.
I'm honored to listen to your words of wisdom.
I'm honored to teach it.
Well, that's great.
So, in the article sentence, this year UNESCO has let Accra, Ghana have the honor. We have the grammar pattern subject plus let or make or have plus object and then plus verb. This pattern with let is used to say that the subject is giving permission for or allowing the object to do something. Used with make or have, it has a more forceful tone. So the subject is forcing the object to do something. For example, Ryan's mum makes him finish his homework before he can play video games. Ryan has no choice, he's forced to do the homework first. The same is said for Ryan's mum has him finish his homework before he can play video games. So it has the same meaning, he is forced to finish his homework, then he can play video games.
Okay, so if we do decide to visit Ghana, beautiful country, to go to the World Book Day event, what would we experience this year? It says Accra's program for the event is aimed at using books to give young people the skills they need. Bravo, that is a very good goal, a very good aim.
Yes, very honorable. Okay. And this part of the article has the phrase to be aimed at doing something. So to be aimed at doing something is to try to do it. Okay, we set a goal and we try to achieve that goal. ACRA's program has the goal of using books to give young people the skills they need. Okay? So it tries to do that. Another example, this video is aimed at helping you learn English. Mike and I are trying to help you learn English with this video.
That's right. And if you watch the video, hopefully that will help. But of course, there are many other ways you can reach that goal. But when we do something with an aim, that is what we are trying to do. Meanwhile, people all over the world, even here in Taiwan, even in my house, celebrate World Book and Copyright Day in their own special way. Absolutely. They do that at the same time as this big event is going on there in Ghana in Africa. And that's why we can use this word meanwhile. Meanwhile kind of is a great word when you're telling a story to show you that two separate things are happening at the same time, but probably in different places. Right. So in your imagination, you can kind of imagine the action is taking place over here and a different kind of action is taking place over there. Meanwhile shows you, explains to you, tells you that these things were happening at the same time. Right. Here's a good example. Ramon was cooking dinner in the kitchen. Meanwhile, his roommate was setting the table. So one was in the kitchen, one was in the dining room. Right. But at the same time as one was making the food, one was getting ready to eat the food. And meanwhile is the word that tells us that's happening at the same time. So there you go. We have a chat question for you. Let's talk about that, and then we're going to wrap it up for today.
For You Chat.
So here is our chat question, and what a shock, it's about books. I'm amazed. Of course it's about books. But here's our question, it's a good one. What are some of your favorite books?
Well, I like a lot of fiction books.
Okay.
I like a lot of Ernest Hemingway.
Ooh,
because I like his style.
Okay.
Yes, I like his style. So a lot of his books.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of short stories.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I've read a little bit of Ernest Hemingway. If there are some people out there who'd never read anything by this very famous American writer, what would you recommend as being a good first book to try to experience some Ernest Hemingway for the first time?
I don't know about the best one to get into, but my favorite is actually not a short story. I like Farewell to Arms.
Ooh, okay, I know that's a famous book.
It is. It's kind of based on his real life. He spent a lot of time in France and served during World War I believe. So it was kind of based on that period of his life.
Interesting.
He was a journalist, a reporter, before becoming a full-time kind of author.
Okay, so he had a lot of exciting adventures during World War I. And then, of course, he wrote books about fishing and hunting and bullfighting and all sorts of stuff. So some really exciting stories there from a guy who lived a very interesting life. What about you guys? What are some of your favorite books, your favorite writers as well? Have a chat about that, and we'll be back tomorrow with more about World Book Day. It'll be great. So read up and then come back, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Vocabulary Review. Enable. Airplanes are wonderful things that enable people to travel all over the world. Organize. Our painting club will organize an art show for all students at AMC High School to attend. Purpose. The purpose of this event is to raise money for the homeless. Select. The judges selected Audrey as the Miss America winner this year. Capital. Kending is the beach capital of Taiwan, and lots of people go there every summer. Meanwhile. Sharon went into the store. Meanwhile, her friend waited in the car.
智慧小补帖
Copyright. Literary. Prominent.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。 如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net